everybody, and welcome to episode 626 of Good Luck High Five.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering. Whether you are excited to re-venture into the spooky realm of Innistrad, or you're excited to get racing with Aetherdrift, we're here for you.
Vroom, 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 vroom. Hey, I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And on today's episode, yes, very exciting things coming up in Magic very, very soon, including Innistrad Remastered, like Megan mentioned, Aetherdrift, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And so much more. We are going to actually crack some packs of collector boosters of Innistrad Remastered on the show today.
Yes.
Because I need to open serialized Edgar Markov.
Yeah, Maria does.
That's just a need that I have.
You have a fundamental need for it.
And I just need to be able to do that.
We're also going to talk about Commander and how to get started playing Commander, since we apparently haven't covered that.
Yeah, Megan was like, did we ever do an episode getting people into Commander for the first time? And I'm like, surely we have.
Surely we have, but maybe we haven't.
But we looked back and we couldn't find one.
So we're going to cover it now.
So we're like covering that blind spot about if you're new to Magic or Commander and you're looking to get into the game, we're going to give you our tips on how to get started because, my goodness, it can seem like a bit of a minefield out there. There's a lot.
Yes, there is a lot. We're also going to get back to the randomizer.
Yes.
Because some people have mentioned that they missed it. So get ready to get random.
Oh, man, I'm so ready. Your card's pretty good, Megan. Not going to lie.
Oh, your art is great. I can't wait for you to see it.
But before we kick off the show, we want to say thank you to everybody who makes the show happen. Those are our patrons, and they support us over on patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
Thank you so much to everyone who is a patron. Truly, you make this podcast possible. We say it all the time, but we say it all the time because it's true.
Yes.
It is very true. We could not do this without patrons. And we have 2 new patrons to thank today.
Very excited.
Thank you so much to Rebecca.
Woohoo, Rebecca.
And to Tree the Oak.
Tree the Oak, yay!
And in addition to giving you puns, which we're going to do in just a moment, I am going to say 2 nice things about Kansas City. Make up for last time, as I said I would.
All right, let's hear it.
The first thing
Number 1.
Okay, I realized I was wrong about y'all's barbecue. It was a different barbecue that I don't like. I talked to my friend from Kansas City. That's another nice thing that I'll say. I'll wrap this one into one. One of my very favorite people is from Kansas City, and her family's from Kansas City.
Wow.
So,
wow.
That's great. Thank you, Kansas City, for Maggie, and for reminding me that your barbecue isn't the barbecue that I think is quite bad.
Wait, let's roast who you think is quite bad.
Well, I'm really scared because someone already said that it's the one that they like.
Oh, uh-oh.
It's North Carolina's barbecue.
North Carolina's
really sorry.
barbecue.
Get that vinegar out of here.
Wow.
No, thank you.
You know what I will say for North Carolina is biscuit capital of the world.
Oh, that's great.
So,
I mean, I love biscuits, and I'm not roasting their biscuits.
Okay, great.
Roasting their barbecue.
And I don't think you roast a biscuit anyway.
No, you absolutely don't. I mean, you could toast it on a fire. I bet it's pretty good. Anyways, here's my second nice thing to say about Kansas City, which is... Oh, really stretching it here.
Ooh, oh boy,
but
okay.
It has been brought to my attention that they do have the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
Yes, they do.
Which I think is pretty cool and is a museum that I would genuinely like to go to.
Yeah, so when I was last there, a group of my friends went to the baseball museum, but I didn't because my flight was leaving. But they all went and saw it. So a bunch of Magic players went and saw that museum, and I think their report was that it was very cool indeed.
Yeah, that sounds like a great museum. Would visit. Next time I'm in Kansas City, I will.
Okay.
So there you go. 2 nice things about Kansas City. Thanks to our 2 patrons who didn't even necessarily mention it, but I'm giving it to you anyways.
Oh, that was very nice.
Keeping me honest.
Unroasted. Kansas City officially unroasted.
Unroasted. North Carolina, though, came for you.
What's our puns for our listeners this week?
Okay. Rebecca, you're great, Rebecca's of being our patron,
nice.
and so many more other great reasons.
Oh, so true. So true. Yeah. And what was who was our other one? Tree the Oak?
Yes.
Tree the Oak, you're okay in our book.
You're no Tree the Joke because you're a great patron.
Absolutely. If you want a pun shout out like that, lots of other great perks you get for being a patron. But the number 1 perk is just supporting content creators that you love.
And for me to unroast North Carolina.
And unroasting.
North Carolina on notice until we get new patrons. Coming for you.
Okay. But thank you all so very, very much. Patreon.com patreon.com/GLHF Magic. We have to give 2 more shout outs. Next one is to Card Kingdom.
Yes, cardkingdom.com/GLHF, the best place to go for all of your Magic needs.
Yeah, do you
Get
want a
Ether
sweet
Drift?
this
Get Innistrad Remastered.
collector booster box? Do you want to open a serialized Edgar before I do? You better go over to Card Kingdom and get going, because I'm going to open one before the end of the show.
Wow.
Your time's running out.
All right.
Anything you buy over there, please use the website cardkingdom.com/GLHF. That lets them know that you support us and they'll continue supporting us. It's a circle of life. Hold us up like the little baby lion on the cliff that we are.
And if you don't open an Edgar Markov serialized, you can always
just
buy one from Card Kingdom
straight up. Yeah, cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Huge shout out as well to our other sponsor, Dragon Shield. You can check them out by going to the link below the video or in the show notes. Use code GLHF at checkout for a fat 5% off whatever you order.
Ooh.
Their sleeves are the best in the business, and we wouldn't say
They really
so if
are.
we didn't believe it. I've loved them since the very first day I ever played Magic. I remember
true.
it's the first sleeves I ever bought, and they'll be the last sleeves I buy before I die. Dragon Shield. That's a promise.
All right.
What more do you need to say about it? There you go. Well, everyone, it's time for the randomizer, where we head to scryfall.com, hit the random card button, and try and guess what the card does based on the art alone. Megan, you've promised me a very good card. You know what? I think I know what this card is.
Ooh, all right. Tell us what you're seeing.
All right, what I'm seeing is a giant rat or mouse. It honestly has the ears of a mouse, but the vibe of a rat.
Yes, that is a really good way to describe it.
I'm not sure.
It has strong rat
what
vibe.
it could be. But it's huge. And the reason I know it's huge is because it is lording,
Yes.
gloating over a pile of human bones in the corner, which are much smaller than it.
Absolutely.
It's got some really scrungly whiskers coming out of its face and big rat/mouse claws on its feet and its other feet. Its front feet and its back feet. And yellow glowing eyes.
A giant mouse with the vibes of a rat.
Yeah. That's what it is. And I believe, oh gosh, I know I've seen this card before. I want to say it's Giant Growth. It
is Giant Growth.
Holy cow. That's the first randomizer I've ever gotten on this show I knew the card.
This is the original art of,
that's the OG?
of Giant Growth. Yep.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool. Wow, it looks busted AF in white border. Not good. Not good. Not good.
Not good.
All right, Megan, here's your card.
Oh my goodness. Okay. It's like I'm looking at I'm going to call this a dinosaur person,
I guess,
or a plant person. It's it's got like a humanoid face.
It kind of does.
But it's wide open in a yell, and it has like fangy things. And it's green, and it's kind of like ominously shaped. I don't know how else to say it. It's
the shape of this is ominous.
And it has like little spikes coming out all over its like head and arms and shoulders.
You know how they're like, ooh, what's your body shape? Is it apple? Is it pear? Mine is ominous.
Is ominous. This one's ominous.
Ominous. Yeah.
Ominously shaped. And like really I think it's the human eyes in this that's doing it. That's like
it's unsettling.
Yeah. It's like leaping over or attacking a tree.
Yeah.
And
ooh, look at its hand is
I know
webbed.
its hand is webbed. Yes, that's very true, which I guess maybe makes this more likely to be kind of like an amphibious or a lizard-like person.
Yeah. The eyes are shockingly human.
The eyes are shockingly human.
Those eyes have seen an iPhone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Have you ever heard people in movies referred to as they have iPhone face because they're in a period drama, but they've obviously seen an iPhone?
They have the face of someone who's seen an
Correct.
iPhone.
That's what this guy has.
Absolutely. Like, I love Lindsay Lohan, but she's obviously seen an iPhone.
She has seen an iPhone.
Put her in a film where I didn't
have seen an iPhone.
believe that she had seen an iPhone. Okay, I'm gonna call this one this is like a ravenous. They're definitely ravenous.
Ooh, yeah, for sure.
Ravenous tree eater.
Okay, got it.
It's a creature lizard human.
Yeah. That's a creature type.
Creature type
that
lizard human.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say it's 2 and a green for a 2/2. And when it comes into play, you can, if you sacrifice a land, you can go and get a different land. It's
Just
not
get
ramp.
a different land.
Get a different land. Put it on the
get a
battlefield
different one.
tap and put a +1/+1 counter on this guy if you sacrifice the land.
Okay, I like that card.
Yeah.
You're pretty close because it is in fact a green 2/2.
Oh,
How you got that right? I don't know. The name of this card is actually Onurid Bark Ripper, which is almost like Tree Attacker.
Yeah, like
What did you say? Tree
Eater?
Eater.
I don't know. Yeah.
It is 1 green for a beast.
I also had the mana of
yes.
I said 2 and a green.
2 and a green, so very close. It has Threshold. When it gets 2/2/2 as long as there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard.
Oh.
But the flavor text, out of this world. When it croaks, so do you.
Great flavor text.
A+.
Yes.
Very close on this thing.
All right.
But it's not a lizard human, just a beast.
It's just a beast. Well,
but
that's what you think.
That's what they are telling us,
That's
but
what
we
they
don't have
think.
to believe it because we know his eyes.
Lizard.
We've seen an iPhone for
Yes.
sure. Randy Galagos, the artist there, very famous Magic artist. Well, kids, say you've been wanting to get into the Commander format, the most popular way to play Magic the Gathering, but you're like, where the heck do I start?
Have you succumbed to peer pressure?
Yeah.
Let us help you.
We have. And we've recently started playing Commander, so we can
Yes.
offer some tips from people who have just, within the past year or so
Yeah.
started playing the format and who have consumed a lot of Magic content, perhaps a dangerous amount on a weekly basis.
Yeah, honestly, perhaps dangerous.
Perhaps it's over the FDA recommended limit for sure. But we do it for you, everybody. And we just want to lay down some best practices so you know the best place to start. Because, wow, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. So,
Starting with the rules.
right off the top, some unique rules to Commander. Your deck is 100 cards. That includes your Commander.
Yes, and that's confusing, everybody.
That is confusing.
So
but that card counts.
that
Even though
card's
it's not
in
shuffled into your deck, it counts.
100.
And there can only be 1 copy of each card, excluding basic lands. So it's a singleton format.
Yes, and that's one of the things I love the most about Commander.
Yeah.
I love singleton formats because, in my opinion, you get 4 copies of something in there. It's just too samey, like let's switch it up.
Players start at 40 life.
Oh, nice.
There is a thing called commander damage, which is if you take 21 points of damage from any one commander, you also lose, even if you're not at 0.
Is that a rule?
I don't know. Great question.
I have an answer.
Oh, tell me.
Life gain decks.
That makes sense.
Wink.
So you can't infinite life gain yourself out of a game of, out of the possibility of losing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you were sitting there being like, I know how
I
to
have
skirt
10
this rule.
billion life, and you're
Doesn't
like,
matter.
Doesn't matter. You could still die to commander damage.
Yep.
And the starting player also draws a card on their first turn.
Oh, that's so nice.
Otherwise known as the Maria rule. Maria forgets it every time.
Every time I've ever played a game of Commander, forget to draw on the first turn because what a gift. You feel like cheating.
It
when
really
that
does.
happens.
Coming from the world of limited and constructed where you don't get to do that, it does feel pretty broken.
The other Commander rule that's pretty fun is that you get a free mulligan. So the first mulligan, free for you.
Free for you.
That's just nice because, hey, Commander's a nice, good time format.
Yeah.
So when you're looking to get started, you obviously need a deck to be able to play Commander, and it can be very daunting because there are nearly 19,000 cards in the game of Magic the Gathering, which can be your Commander.
That's so many.
It's a lot of cards.
That's so many cards.
That's a lot of cards. So,
but don't worry. One of our top tips for
Yes.
people who are getting started in Commander is to just go pick up a recent precon.
yeah.
I've been recommending Bloomborough a lot to people because they're very cute.
Absolutely.
They're very, very cute. But if you like spooky things, the Duskmourn ones, also great.
The Fallout Commander precons, if you're a Fallout fan, those
really
were fantastic.
Great, really fun.
There's so many different precons. Wizards usually releases a precon, by the way, short for pre-constructed, meaning you just get the deck. It's got everything you need in there.
Literally, it is G2G out the box.
Yep. You just crack it open and you can play a game. They usually release at least 2 with every new set. So coming up at the end of February, Ether Drift comes out, and that's going to have 2 pre-con Commander decks that come with it, and that's a racing theme set. So if that's your jam, you can check those out. But they usually cost around $40, so they're very affordable. And then you can just, if you find the deck that you like, you can just look up a list of Commander precons. They're all over the internet.
Yeah.
You can upgrade them how you see fit as you continue to play with them.
Yeah. another great place to start is by watching stuff like, hey, Commander Arcade.
Oh, yeah.
Where we play the pre-cons.
What? Our Commander
Like
show?
when I've been recommending it to people, I'm like, oh, you can pick a Bloomberg pre-con, and if you can't decide, go and watch an episode where someone plays the pre-cons. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Commander Arcade plays the pre-cons, and then you can be like, "Oh, I really like the gameplay of this one. I really like the gameplay of this other one."
Exactly.
Right?
If you go through that list of pre-constructed decks and you find a couple that you're interested in, you can go to YouTube and just put the name of that deck in the search bar, and you can find creators who are playing that deck.
Somebody's played it.
Somebody has played it, and you can see how it plays on camera, see if it's your jam, and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
By the way, Commander Arcade. We forgot to tell people up front, we have a new episode out this week.
Oh, and it's so good.
Everybody, it is our funniest episode for sure. We have a blast. We're like cry laughing several times during the episode. It's
there
ridiculous.
Are multiple of my favorite moments of Commander Arcade in this episode.
Yes.
Like my favorite overall moments of the show.
If you're
ever.
like, I don't know if I should watch this one, we're telling you, you should watch this one.
It's so funny.
So this one, we are playing Innistrad Remastered. So we are playing with commanders from Innistrad. So classic Innistrad commanders. Spoiler alert, mine is Edgar Markov.
Maria's is Edgar Markov.
Not the serialized one, because I didn't open him yet. But
so sorry.
Whatever.
So rough for you.
Megan plays Grolnok the Omnivore.
Oh, man.
Giant Toad.
Big Toad.
Big Toad, big dreams. And our friends Aaron and Tyler join us for this episode. And it's just hilarity from start to finish. And it's a fantastic game. So go to youtube.com/@GLHF Commander and check out that episode. I know some people were like, hey, I want you to do a better job of promoting your episodes on Commander Arcade on your podcast. Here you go.
Here you go.
Listener.
This is them.
This is for you. So yeah, Commander Arcade, a great resource for you if you want to watch Commander episodes with fun people who are having a fun time. But there's other great channels out there too that you can find the pre-cons played on.
Yeah. So if pre-con, you're like, do you know what? No, I want to get more creative than that.
Leveling up.
Yes. You can find a legendary creature you love and go from there, or a theme that you love, i.e. Maria and Edgar Markov, because she loves them vamps.
Vampires. I'm like, I want to play vampires. So I'm going to find a very powerful vampire commander, and there's plenty of them.
Yeah. And another one of your favorites is Tuvasa the Sunlit.
Yes,
which
because
is all
I
about
love auras.
Yes.
Hey, if you're like, how do I find these things? There's a great website for you. It's called Scryfall. It's where we played the randomizer on just now.
Yes.
You can go to scryfall.com and use their advanced search option to basically search for almost anything that's on a Magic the Gathering card. But what you're looking for is legendary creatures.
Yeah. So in type line, you'll want to put in legendary and creature.
Legendary creature. Boom.
And then you can also pick the colors.
Yes. Wow.
If you pick legendary creature, you're going to end up with 1 billion options.
19,000 cards.
But if you're like, hey, I really love blue-white, then you can select blue and white, and I'll show you blue-white legendary creatures that could be your commander.
It's a fabulous resource that Scryfall provides for free. So we just want to give them a big thumbs up for like just making the Magic experience that much better over the years. And if you're like, I don't know what colors I like in Magic, well, guess what? There's something in Magic called the color pie to help you figure that out.
Yes. So each color in Magic has its own strong identity and theme. So depending on what you like to do, if you really like to attack, do you really like to draw cards? Do you really like lots of little creatures that all work together or have a lot of equipments on them to make them big and powerful? Do you like combos? Do you like just creatures that are big on their own?
Do you like
start off with
hoping everybody at the table has a fun time? That's a certain archetype too. It's called group hug.
Oh, so nice.
And Magic will help suit your play style no matter what kind of player you are. And if you're not sure what kind of player you are, just think about the other games that you've played in your life and how you approach those games. Did you like being evil and mean? Did you like stopping other people from accomplishing their goal?
And again, if you're not sure, we can always have episodes of Commander Arcade for you where you can go and watch and you can be like, oh, I really like what this deck does. We have both the pre-cons, but then we also have tons of other ones where we've built other decks. So you can be like, hey, I really liked that deck's vibe. That was sweet.
Yes, and there are lots of different archetypes and sub-archetypes as far as what kinds of decks are on Magic the Gathering. The 4 big ones that kind of everything falls under are aggro, which is aggressive decks where you're attacking with creatures, control, where you're trying to control the game and make sure you don't get attacked, but you're able to stop other people from enacting their game plans. There's combo, where you're assembling different kinds of cards, at least 2 together, to do something super sweet and interesting. Or mid-range, which is basically what it sounds like.
It's right down the middle.
Right down the middle. And then, like we mentioned, a lot of sub-archetypes under that, such as group hug decks, equipment decks, decks that care about vehicles, decks that are typal, like vampires, cats, dogs, horses, whatever. All of this exists in Magic. If there's something you like in life, chances are it exists as a Magic deck.
That is very true.
Another thing I wanted to mention is when you're building your deck, in Commander, since it's a casual format, it's not all about winning the game. Now that can be your goal, certainly, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah. You can just want to have a fun experience when you sit down at the table and play with other people and just do a fun thing that your deck does. Eventually, maybe you win, maybe you don't, whatever. But it's completely up to you what kind of player you want to be when you sit down on the table. And there's a method in Commander for kind of thinking about how powerful your deck is relative to the other people you're playing against into the format in general, where people will say, my deck is a 1 through a 10. 1 being the least powerful and 10 being the most powerful. And you can look up resources online that will teach you how to grade your deck as a power level from 1 to 10 after you've built it. And you can kind of see where it falls there. And then when you go out to an LGS or you're playing at a tournament or something, you can find other people who have decks around the same power level as yours so that you can have a more balanced experience at the table. But remember, it doesn't have to be about winning if that's not your jam. But if it is your jam, that's cool too. If you want to be ultra competitive with Commander, there is a special format for you. It's called CEDH.
As in competitive.
Competitive.
EDH. EDH was one of the original names of Commander Elder Dragon Highlander, is what it is called. Highlander because there can only be one.
There can be only one.
Singleton. This is a Singleton format.
Yes. And when you're building the deck, remember to keep in mind that it should be fun for you to play, but it should also be fun for your opponents to be able to play against. So don't, if you're constantly blowing up people's lands or destroying all their creatures or whatever, it's not necessarily going to be an experience that everyone will enjoy.
Then maybe CEDH is the place for you.
Right,
where you can
exactly.
get mean like that.
Yeah. So don't pick Narset is what I'm saying.
Wow. Hey. Interesting commentary coming from someone who's played Edgar Markov twice on the show.
What?
Also one of the most hated commanders.
What? Oh, anyway.
All right. We have some common pitfalls next when you are building your deck. First of all, there is a chart made by none other than Frank Karsten, Frankie Numbers, that talks about the right number of lands and mana rocks, just depending on the mana value of your commander. And this is important because even though Commander, you want to do like big splashy things, you also want to make sure that you have early play so you don't get just absolutely run over.
Yes, Frank Karsten was a Pro Tour player for many years in Magic. He's a doctor, Dr. Frank Karsten.
Yes.
And he's
not a medical doctor.
No,
a numbers doctor
of numbers. He joins us on the Pro Tour now to kind of break down how many decks certain people are playing. And anyway, he's extremely smart, and we're so blessed to have him in the game. And guides like his about how many lands to play in your Commander deck are very useful for you. And when Megan says the term mana rock, that's essentially any card that will help accelerate your mana, like an artifact that you can tap for mana that you're not playing like a land.
The classic one is Soul Ring.
You
do want a Soul Ring in your Commander deck. Everyone's got one. But then there's also stuff like the Signets. Is it Signet, Celestia Signet, stuff like that.
Felwar Stone.
Yes. And he has a little chart that's so helpful that shows what your commander's mana value is, and then a suggested number of lands and mana rocks. And he also goes so far as to give you like a recommended number of one drops, 2 drops, etc.
Very helpful.
Super helpful little chart.
So if you're building your own deck, make sure to check out Frank Karsten's chart on what kinds of lands and how many to include in your Commander deck.
Very helpful.
Well, now that we have lands covered, if you're building your own deck, what about the other cards in there? Because there's probably still a lot that you've got to cover here.
This is my number one, tip when I'm building, which is that most of the cards in your deck should contribute to your deck's quote unquote thing.
Sure.
Right? Whatever your deck's thing is, all of your cards should be focused on that, with a little bit of space for removal, which is like the other pitfall that I want to mention, which is like, hey, you do need to have some ways to remove artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. Those are 3 things. And in Commander, people can have very powerful each of those things, right? Like a lot of times if you're just playing a regular game, you might not need to worry too much about artifact removal, for example. But there's way more powerful artifacts and enchantments running around in Commander than there are in a lot of other variations of Magic. So make sure that you've got some ways to deal with those artifacts, enchantments, and creatures. Whether they're sweepers or it's targeted removal.
How many spots am I spending on something like that, would you say?
I would say I would maybe put it at around like 6.
Sure.
That's my own like personal. I tend to skew really heavily towards doing the deck's thing.
Yes.
Like I'm saying, like literally there'll be those 6, there'll be the lands, and then every other card is doing the deck's thing.
I love that.
Every single other one. Because if you have too many cards that are just like, oh, but I really like this card, then build a deck around it, right? Whatever that card's thing is, go build yourself a different Commander deck that does that card's thing. Because otherwise you're just going to play a game and you only, right, because there's only single copies and you're only going to see so many cards, you run the risk of not seeing cards that advance your thing. You run the risk of like just not getting whatever your deck's jam is off the ground.
Man, I love getting jam off the ground.
You gotta get the jam off the ground.
You can't leave it there. It's gonna stain.
No, jam doesn't belong on the ground.
It belongs in your deck.
Yes.
So we mentioned Scryfall as a great resource for searching for cards for your Commander deck, but another absolutely fantastic resource we'd be remiss if we didn't mention is the website EDHREC.
Yes. This is a great resource. You can search like the commander that you chose. You can scroll through their top commanders. You can read their articles like best mono blue commanders or top auras. Maria?
Yes. Oh, who put that in there? Interesting. Yeah, if you're looking at their top commanders list, it's fascinating to me. So this is based on how many decks people have uploaded with these cards as their commander. You can see which cards people are prioritizing very highly right now when they're building their decks. And you can find anything here. If you love big splashy dragons, for example, the Dragon, which costs 4 and then Wooburg for a 10/10.
Yes.
Is that your jam? Guess what? It's one of the most popular played commanders. Do you love Edgar Markov like I do? Well, it's number 8, so I think a lot of people do. Do you like elves? Do you want to build an elf deck? Lathril, Blade of the Elves, is currently the 6th most popular commander. Whatever. I just love looking at this list.
I'm going to tell you all really quickly my like process for building a not super expensive deck built around whatever I want to do.
Great.
So for instance, this Slogurk deck.
Slogurk, the Overslime.
Wait, no, Grolnok.
You want to look at Grolnok?
Yeah. I get them mixed up. Slogurk and Grolnok,
they're both slimy boys.
They're both slimy boys. They're both like green-blue. Anyways, Grolnok, this is the one that I play this week in Commander Arcade. So I typed him in. I'm on his little page. I have him set as commander. There's a little budget line.
Love
and I'm going to click the $1. And then there's a couple of options underneath that say tags. For instance, for him, I'm looking at tags that say frogs, mill, birthing pod, self-mill. And from there, I'm going to be like, oh, do you know what? I really liked the mill version. And I think that for me is like self-mill, but I don't want to narrow it down too much.
Okay.
And then I'm going to scroll down and click on the alphabetical list of cards. Like on the right, you can have it just show you the cards as names. Then I'm going to go over to our other favorite tool, which is Moxfield. This is where we build all of our decks. If you've looked at Commander Arcade decks, this is what you're looking at. I'm going to build a new deck. So I'm going to put a new deck into Moxfield, put in my commander, and then I'm just going to copy paste that whole list of cards that EDHREC gave me.
Wow.
And it's going to be way more than 100. But that's great because then from there, right, it always recommends people have put other versions of cards. People put cards in that like aren't as linear as I want to be.
Sure.
So then I just go through in Moxfield and like you hit option 2 and it deletes a card from the deck. And it's so easy. It's my favorite way to build because I'll just go through the list of cards. Here's one that I have right now that we're building for a friend. And I just I'm like, okay, I'm going through this list of instants. And I'm like, oh, Broken Wings. I don't want that one in here. I'm going to take it out. I don't like it. Even though it can do artifact, enchantment, or creature, I trend for those to do stuff that can hit more than one thing.
Put a Boseiju in.
Exactly. Or just like put stuff in, like there's let's see, austere command, for instance, which is a wrath that can destroy all artifacts or all enchantments or both, depending on what you want. So I tend to go a little bit more for that. Requisition Raid. This is a sorcery that you can destroy an artifact. It has spree, so you can also destroy an enchantment, or you can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls, which is the theme of the deck.
Well, there you go.
So that's the version of that card that I'm going to keep in, because it's like, oh, it does all of those things that I talked about. It does my deck's thing. It can remove an artifact, and it could also remove an enchantment if I pay more.
Wow, that's a great way to do it. How did you copy from EDH Rec into Moxfield?
So I literally just like here, like I said, on the right hand, the normal view is you'll see cards.
Yeah.
Card images. But if you go click on this little A, it'll give you the text version. And I literally just go down to the bottom of the page.
Highlight them all. Wow, old school. Okay.
And then when you're on Moxfield,
yeah,
there's a button, like once you've created the new deck, there's a button that says bulk edit, and you literally just paste it into there.
Wow, so easy.
It's really, really great. That's how I build a lot of the decks for Commander Arcade. Is just like, I know that the budget is going to be low because I told EDH Rec to give me a low budget. And then I know that they're going to start out being all kind of in the same theme for that commander. And I'm going to go through and do the manual work of like really narrowing it down.
So that takes a lot of the guesswork out of like which cards exist that you could possibly put in your deck. Because like we said, there's
so many.
Nearly 19,000 commanders. How many cards do you think that means? You know, like in Magic that could possibly go in your deck? Like a billion.
As far as I know, it's a billion.
So it's a great starting point because you're basically mining the entirety of everybody who's uploaded a deck featuring this card as their commander over into Moxfield and then just paring it down from there.
Oh, it's so great. I really like doing it, honestly. Like, I really like building the decks for Commander Arcade. It's a fun time. You know, it's really hard. Gosh, once you get to like the last 10 cards you have to cut, that part's tough.
That
part stinks, but you know what? You got to do it.
Yeah. You got to do it. And that's a really easy way that will help you not feel as overwhelmed if you're just sitting there looking at a blank page.
Yes.
Like, what on earth do I put into this?
And one of the best parts about Moxfield is also like once you've built your deck, at the bottom, it will tell you the cost of your deck. And also it has these like handy buttons where you can hit buy deck and it'll literally take you to the website of your choice. So you could use Card Kingdom and hit like the buy now. And it'll take you to that page and like put all of it into a little search bar on Card Kingdom. And from there you can put it into your cart. It's great.
Very cool.
So easy.
So once you've got your deck figured out, now you've got it. It's in your hot little hands and you're ready to play it. Keep in mind these kinds of accessories that you might want to help make your experience smoother. If you've never played Magic before, we were mentioning Dragon Shield at the top of the show. Dragon Shield sleeves are a great option for you to sleeve
your deck.
Keep your cards safe, everybody, and make it easier to shuffle. It's not just about
use our affiliate code.
Making them look pretty. Yeah, please.
Get 5% off.
Get 5% off.
Order a bunch.
Order a bunch. They are more expensive than other sleeves, but that's because they are better.
They last. We use and use and reuse them.
Yeah. It will be worth your while, trust us. So that's one thing that you will want.
Dice. You want dice to put dice on. Everything gets counters. Stuff needs counters. Just have dice.
It's Commander. There's going to be counters.
There's going to be dice. Someone else is going to have not brought dice, and they're going to need to borrow your dice. So just bring a lot of dice.
So true.
Bring a really good, big amount of dice.
And also, you'll want an app to keep track of your life total. The official Magic the Gathering app is called Companion that you can download for free from the App Store. This is going to help you if you join a pre-release event at your local game store or something like that. They'll probably want you to have the app, and it does have a life tracker in it, which is kind of nice. But if you want something that's more aesthetically pleasing, our favorite app that we use is an app called Carbon, which looks just beautiful.
It's so pretty. And it's also just nice to have it on like a phone, like in the center of the table and have everyone keep track on one thing instead of like everyone doing it individually on paper or something. That way you all have like a collective understanding of what the life totals are.
Yes.
Carbon also has like, it's pretty easy to keep track of different kinds of commander damage. It's a solid app.
Solid app. And finally, now you should be ready to get into it. You've got your deck. You're all sleeved up. You've got your dice and your life tracking app. You're probably going to want to build another deck.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
That's just how it goes. You know what? I'm always like, okay, this is the one deck I'm playing right now, but now I have 3 of those.
Yes,
so.
exactly. You can
None
check
of them
out.
is Narset.
Thank God. You can check out your local game store to find out when their Commander Night is. Chances are they probably have one. And you can go and meet new friends who are playing there casually and have a great time. Our local game store also has a Lady Planeswalkers Night, which yours might, in your city too, where you get together with people who are more like you and get to play some more Magic on your terms. That's something you can look out for as well.
You can also just make your own play group, send your friends this episode, and be like, look, we're going to do this.
This is happening.
This is happening. Here it is.
And once you know how to play Magic.
Buy all 4 Bloomborough precons, and then have 3 friends and be like, look, these animals are cute. Now we're going to make them fight.
I mean,
ethically.
If you put ethically, they're going to fight ethically.
We're going to make these animals fight in an ethical way.
Ethically. If you're a Magic player, you do have the duty to make at least 3 new Magic players.
Exactly.
That is the agreement that you have signed.
It's a pyramid scheme.
It's a pyramid scheme.
And we're here in the middle of the pyramid.
Sorry, but
we are not at the top, but we're in the middle.
We don't make the rules, but pretty soon we're going to have that pink Cadillac.
Yeah.
And the most important thing to do once you have your deck, of course, is to play with it as often as possible to get familiar with your deck so you know the cards that you need to be searching for. If you're searching for a certain spell or tutoring for something in your library, as we call it. And playing against people who are better than you to help you improve your game has always been wonderful. And just keep getting yourself familiar with that deck so that when you sit down to play, you know how to play it and you feel comfortable slinging those spells in your group. That's our tips for Commander, friends. Ting. That's me winking at the camera.
So get on out there and have a great time.
Or else.
Or else.
All right, everybody. We've got an Innistrad Remastered Collector Booster Box that I'm trying to open. There we go. There she is. I took the plastic wrap off. She's fresh and new.
Gorgeous.
And she's beautiful. Oh.
Wow.
Okay, we're each going to open a pack.
All right.
See what we find.
Ooh.
Oh, there she is. I love opening a collector booster, everybody.
Wow. We're not even playing a game. We're
just
literally just opening these for the sake of opening
a pack.
Look how beautiful.
I'm obsessed.
All right.
Okay, you have to start from the back because that's how it works with collector boosters. Makeshift Mauler.
Ooh, okay, wait. Should we go back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a beautiful blue foil. This little guy is the 4/5 zombie horror. As an additional cost to cast a spell, exile a creature card from your graveyard.
Oh, I have Wretched Throng. This is 1 and a blue for the 2/1. This is the one when it dies, you can search your library for a card named Wretched Throng, reveal it, put it into your hand and shuffle.
Up next, I have Neonate's Rush, also in foil. Costs 1 less to cast if you control a vampire. It's 2 and a red. It deals 1 damage to target creature and 1 damage to its controller. Draw a card.
Ooh.
Do you remember this card?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Borrowed Hostility, single red for an instant, escalate 3, pay this cost for each mode chosen beyond the first. Target creature gets +3/+0 until end of turn. Target creature gains first strike until end of turn.
I have opened It of the Horrid Swarm.
Ooh.
This Eldrazi insect 4/4 with Emerge for 6 and a green. And when you cast this, you make 2 green insect tokens.
Nice.
This card is sick.
Yeah. Village Rites, classic instant, draw 2 cards. You have to sacrifice a creature to do it.
Desperate Farmer, who turns into Depraved Harvester.
Wow. Ooh, this card's good.
Yeah,
I remember
love
this card being
one.
quite
Lifelinker
good.
that turns into a 4/3. And when another creature controlled dies, it turns into that lifelinking 4/3.
Oh, quite good.
Good card.
Brambleworm. I also remember this guy. 6 and a green for a 7/6 reach trample worm. When this creature enters, you gain 5 life, and you can pay 2 and a green to exile it from your graveyard and gain 5 life.
What
Just
about
a lot of life?
Grizzly Ghoul Zombie Bear? This zombie bear was a 4/3. I don't remember this card. Trample. It enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature that died this turn.
Oh, let me see him.
Do you remember this card?
I think so, yes. Wild Hunger. This I don't remember. 2 and a green instant. Target creature gets +3/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Flashback for 3 and a red. Okay.
Thermo Alchemist. How can you forget? Defender. 1 and a red. Deals 1 damage to
Great.
each opponent with a tap. And then whenever you cast it in a sorcery, you get to untap it. I love this card.
Yes, same. Demonic Taskmaster. 2 and a black for a 4/3 flyer. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature other than this creature.
Ooh.
Sick.
Graph Rats. 2-1 rats.
Graph, rats,
And
rats.
soon will become chittering host if you manage to meld it.
Yes.
What else do you need? Midnight Scavengers. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Rats.
Rats. We're the rats.
Town Gossip Monger. It's a 1/1. Tap it and an untapped creature you control to transform it into Incited Rabble.
Wow, this plains I opened is gorgeous.
That's beautiful.
This-
Oh, look, I have a forest.
Oh my gosh, they're is yours the old border too?
Yes, they're old border.
Oh, foil.
Gorgeous.
I love
really
that.
Pretty.
That looks great in person.
Yes.
I've got Silent Departure in Old Border here. This is a sorcery for a single blue. Return target creature to its owner's hand with flashback for 4 and a blue.
Oof.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I have Abundant Growth, also old frame. Enchant land. When this aura enters, draw a card. An enchanted land has tap. Add 1 mana of any color.
Oh man, I opened a Laboratory Maniac.
Ooh.
Full art, new art.
Nice.
2/2. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. You needed this in
Great.
your Grolnok deck.
It was in my Grolnok
Oh,
deck.
excellent.
Yeah, it was. Another Town Gossip Monger, but this time in Old Border.
I've got a Splinter Fright in foil Old Border. This is a star for 2 and a green Trampler. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. At the beginning of your upkeep, you mill 2 cards. This guy looks sweet.
Nice. Yeah.
I like him.
Maria, I also have, but foil.
Foil,
I have a foil Lab Maniac.
Oh, nice.
Great.
Second Harvest, 2 green. For each token you control, create a token that's a copy of that permanent foily boy.
Ooh, I have my land, which is a Shipwreck Marsh. This is the blue-black land. This land enters
Nice.
tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands.
Oh, look at this, everybody. I opened a Captivating Vampire. No big deal.
Nice.
This is the Old Border version.
That's great.
It looks great. Gives your vamps +1/+1. You can tap 5 of them to make something a vampire, and you gain control of it.
Oh, I opened Sorin Imperious Bloodlord.
Soren!
Yes.
Oh, he looks beautiful.
Wow, this is a great Sorin too.
Full art Soren.
Yes, full art.
Oh my gosh. I opened Old Border Westvale Abbey.
Nice.
Hey, I love this card.
I have an Old Border Crater Hoof.
Oh, you got Hoof.
Got hoofed.
Oh, I love Hoof.
Yay. Wow, 2 mythics in my pack.
Seriously. And my last card, while not a beautiful Edgar in serialized form, is Collective Brutality in beautiful Old Border. I don't even want to call this Old Border. I want to call this...
I don't know what's going on there. It's great.
Some kind of weird border is happening here.
Yeah.
You get to escalate by discarding cards to make opponents reveal their hand, discard, give things -2/-2, and make them lose life. That looks
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah. I had a Cryptolith Right.
Did you have a token? Mine's a zombie blood token.
I also have a zombie. I have zombie. Zombie.
Man, what is your first pick from your pack?
Oh. Wow, I feel like it's got to be Sorin. I mean, I want it to be
Crater
Get
Hoof.
but Sorin is so good.
Crater Hoof, you just win.
That's true.
I mean, it is 8 mana.
Exactly.
I
But
think
it
I
is
want
so
to
good.
take, gosh, what do I want to take? Oh, man. Should I just take Collective Brutality? I suppose it's the most...
Quite good. Although
Flexible.
I love Westvale
Westvale Abbey is really good, too.
Quite
And
good.
so is Captivating Vampire.
Yes.
I love a creature. What can I say?
Oh, that one's great. You need that one.
Very good packs. Well, everybody, we're going to have to crack the rest of this box off here.
Woo!
But it's very, very cool.
So spicy.
Innistrad Remastered, releasing
Yes.
this Friday in your game store. Thank you to Wizards of the Coast for this beautiful pack, letting us crack it here on air. And remember, our new Commander Arcade episode where we play Innistrad Remastered Commanders is out right now on YouTube, youtube.com/@GLHF Commander. And yeah, watch it because we want to give away some more of this stuff.
Yeah,
and
we do.
I think you'll figure out how if you watch the episode. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Good Luck High Five. Even though I didn't pull a serialized Edgar, I have good hopes for the
We
rest
got
of this
some good
box.
vamps.
We
This
did.
is a vamp strong box.
Vamp strong box
Vamp strong box.
already.
So, hoping for you.
If you love Innistrad, check it out. It comes out this Friday. And then we're going to turn our attention to Ether Drift as it begins almost immediately after Innistrad Remastered. Previews are starting like next week, I want to say. They've already started leaking out. Maybe it's sooner than that. I'm not sure. But we are ramping right up into the next set. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to all of our patrons who support us on patreon.com/GLHF Magic. Thank you to Card Kingdom. Thank you to Dragon Shield.
Thank you to Rebecca and Tree the Oak.
Rebecca and Tree the Oak, thank you for your support.
Remember, if you would like me to say something nice about North Carolina, you need to become a patron.
I will say so many nice things about North Carolina.
It's true, Maria will.
I love North Carolina.
But I won't. Unless someone becomes a patron.
Wow, she's holding you all a hostage to say something nice about North Carolina.
That's right.